Paraguayan electoral court announced final results, giving ruling party the victory of its presidential elections. In Ukraine, former Prime Minister Nikolai Azarov denounced NATO for sending his country obsolete or faulty weaponry to further its own agenda. And in Sudan, warring sides announced a new extension of truce for 72 hours while the country's health systems face a critical situation as a result of the conflict. Hello, welcome to From the South. I am Heidi Maurel from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Paraguay, the ballot counting continues in the context of this Sunday's general elections, where Paraguayans will select the national president and vice president of the republic, as well as local and national representatives across the country. According to the latest preliminary results, based on the 41.15% of the votes counted, the vice president and president candidates for the Colorado Party, Santi Peña and Pedro Ayana, are leading the polls with 45.50% of the counted votes, followed by the coalition for the new Paraguay candidates Efraín Alegre and Sol Núñez, with 28.29%. According to the latest report, 1,001,072,673 Paraguayans have exercised their constitutional rights for vote for a 61.55% turnout.
Let us forget about the fatalism that we are doomed. We are the owners of our own destiny, of our future, We are not going to let you down.
The President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, will begin a 3-day official visit to Spain on Tuesday. The government house confirmed on Sunday. The agenda of his visit will last until next Friday, May 5, including meetings with the head of the Spanish government, Pedro Sánchez, and King Felipe VI. According to the international media report, in addition to this diplomatic agenda, we will address the Congress of Deputies and visit the Madrid City Hall. The visit will also hold a meeting with the Colombian community in Madrid, several events and meetings with international investors, and conference at the University of Salamanca. According to the official information, the visit has bilateral and multilateral significance and comes at the time when Spain is about to assume the presidency of the Council of the European Union. Costa Rican authorities reported 78 homicides in April, surpassing January as the most violent month so far in 2023. With only hours to go before the end of the month, a new record rate of violence has been registered in Costa Rica, surpassing the 73 reported in January. According to the reports from the Judicial Investigation Agency, the recent murders occurred in the city of Erotina, while the 23-year-old young man was killed by 5 Jews, while in the community of Pocosí, a 25-year-old man was killed. Finally, this number of murders exceeds the number of murders registered during the same period in 2022 by the 89. Cuban authorities announced on Tuesday that the May 1st celebrations across the nations are postponed to Friday, May 5, due to the weather conditions. The official statement based the decision on the weather's instability that has caused heavy rains in several territories on Sunday and on the forecast for the coming hours. The official celebration has been now rescheduled to Friday, May 5. The note also announced that there will be a work recess on Friday so that all Cubans can participate simultaneously in the celebration parades throughout the country. The president of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel, confirmed that the news of his Twitter account highlighted that it's not a cancellation but a postponement of the activities, added that on May 5 the call continues for Cubans to commemorate Labor Day. And let's take a short break, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok account at teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Russia, authorities recorded severe earthquake in the vicinity of the Shiveluch volcano in the Kamchatka Peninsula. According to the Geophysical Service of the Russian Academy of Science, a total of 15 earthquakes were registered in a single day in the surroundings of the volcano. At the same time, they indicated that the volcano could step ashes at 15,000 meters. It was reported that the tremors occurred at the distance of 80 to 90 kilometers from the locality of Ust-Kamchatsk, and the stronger of the registered quakes had a 4.2 magnitude. Authorities urged the population to take safety measures in view of the situation. In the United Kingdom, the nurses' union went on a strike after a salary negotiation with the government failed. Health authorities say the strike is one of the largest joint actions so far, while warning patients about possible delays in services during the strike. In this sense, the National Health Service and union leaders agreed to guarantee the care in critical areas such as extensive care in trauma services. For its part, the British College of Nursing assured newborn and pediatric care will be provided to safeguard the lives of the citizens during the protest. In Ukraine, former Prime Minister Nikolai Azarov denounced that NATO was sending his country outdated for executive weapons in order to favor its own agenda. Azarov denounced that NATO continues to promote itself through its military aid to Ukraine, while in reality it is sending inoperable military equipment to the nation. As an example, the Ukrainian politician cited the 20 M1009 self-propelled howitzer that Italy delivered to Kiev this month, not a single one of which, he said, was combat-ready. The former official stressed that the United States has also failed to provide Ukraine's military with long-range missiles and F-16s. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in an interview on Friday that the more weapons the West supplied to Kiev, the more lives will be saved. Moscow has repeatedly denied this, pointed out that arms deliveries multiply casualties and delay the end of the conflict. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has announced that Turkish forces killed the leader of the Islamic State terrorist movement, Abu al-Qirachi, during an operation in Syria. The MIT, National Intelligence Organization in Turkish, has been tracking the alleged leader of Daesh Islamic State, Abu Hussein al-Qurashi, for a long time. He was neutralized yesterday in Syria. In an interview with several national media, Turkish leaders said that the fight against terrorist organization continues without discrimination. This is the fourth caliph to head the Islamic State, after Abu al-Hassan al-Qirachi, Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qirachi, and Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who was killed in a U.S. operation in Syria in October 2019. On Sunday, a bus carrying military personnel in Turkey overturned in the district of Sirnak, local media reported. The country's Ministry of National Defense said 2 soldiers died and 4 were injured in the accident. The government agency stressed that 4 injured were transferred to the hospital for treatment. 5 fires and medical army teams were sent to the site of the accident. A statement from the Turkish Armed Forces expressed its condolences for the 2 dead compatriots and wished the speedy recovery for the injured. Vietnam commemorated on Sunday 40 years after the defeat of the United States imperialism. On June 1969, the National Front for the Liberation of South Vietnam, together with other political and social organizations, convened the Congress of Representatives from the South. This Congress gave rise to the creation of Provisional Revolutionary Government of the Republic of South Vietnam, which played a decisive role in the formation of revolutionary power in that area of the country. The end of the Ho Chi Minh campaign in April 30, 1975 marked the conclusion of a brilliant military operation by the Armed Forces and the Vietnamese people under the leadership of the Communist Party. As a result of the campaign, the U.S. imperialism was defeated in what has been characterized as the greatest military and political disaster in its history. teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now turn in from 33 different African countries through StarSat. Dial 461 and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Humanitarian assistance is steadily arriving in Syria from several countries to help the Syrian population overcome the aftermath of the war and recent earthquakes. In this regard, more than 2,070 tons of Russian humanitarian aid arrived aboard 10 planes, and the military of each Russian nation began to deliver them to those affected. In this regard, 5 tons of food, mainly rice, sugar, tea, milk and oil, were delivered to the village of the town of Sanaubarie in the province of Latakia. The villagers of the town of Kelekle in the northern province of Sueda also received baskets with food. For its part, Latakia Governorate received a new batch of aid offered by Pakistan and includes 24 containers of supplies and food. The Jordanian embassy disclosed that his country sent 10 trucks with humanitarian, medical and food aid. According to the report of the Higher Relief Committee, the number of registered families left homeless due to this natural disaster reached 91,794 with 14,304 individuals. In Yemen, a long-imprisoned general who was captured by the Houthis 8 years ago was released on Sunday. According to the mediator from the Ibn Tarib, General Faisal Rajab was freed by the Tawhid rebels following talks between Houthi representatives and members of the Yemeni tribes. The tribe members traveled to the Sana'a, Yemen's capital that has been held for years by the Houthis, to negotiate Rahab's release after he was not involved in prisoner swaps between the Saudi-led coalition and the Houthi rebels early this month. Exchanges of the hundreds of prisoners linked to Yemen's long-running war took place early this month following a United Nations brokered deal.
I confirm from this place and on this day that we still have many leaders and many prisoners, and we are fully prepared to enter a comprehensive deal that does not exclude anyone if the other party is ready for it. We are serious about it, and we ask the United Nations to pressure the other party to implement what was recently agreed upon in Switzerland last month.
Sudanese paramilitaries announced on Sunday a new truce extension from 72 hours. The so-called Rapid Support Forces informed on Twitter about the unilateral truce extension effective as of midnight this Sunday. The decision followed international, regional and local appeals to open human corridors, facilitate the movement of citizens and residents, as well as allow them to meet their needs and reach safe areas. The paramilitaries stated their strict commitment to the declared humanitarian truce and full ceasefire. Sudan has been the scene of clashes between the two countries' armies and quick support forces since April 15. According to the Sudanese Ministry of Health, the conflict has left more than 520 dead and some of 4,600 wounded. The extension of the truce comes at a time when the country's healthcare system is facing a critical situation as a result of the conflict. According to the head of the Sudan Human Rights Commission, Refat Marjani Abbas, hospitals are under fire because they have become the battlefield of both sides. The authorities added that the medical staff are working in extremely difficult conditions, coupled with a lack of necessary medicines and obstacles to the movement of ambulances. And we have come to the end of News You Brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I am Heidi Maurel. Thank you for watching.